Welcome, everyone. This is Five Mules, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Sans Winda.
Hello.
And returning after some time being away is the master of LOTRO herself, Maven.
Hey, y'all.
Hello there.
Oh, it's good to be back.
Yes,
nice to see you. Nice to see everybody.
Yes, nice for you to pay us a visit here. And of course, that reference to Master of LOTRO is that I believe
that's
LOTRO
right.
is
Yeah. He said master on purpose. I'm not mistress of LOTRO. I am master of LOTRO. Yeah, actually, I got my Masters of Arts, right? Yeah, in literature and language at Signum, and my thesis. It was a LOTRO-based thesis. It had to do with the way that Standing Stone's storytellers engage the players by using, whether they are aware of it or not, very familiar literary archetypes. And so it was really fun to do because I used, I used sort of like quote unquote classic stuff. Like I used Frankenstein, like to talk about Nerzum, for example, in Will. Frankenstein and the Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells. And, and then I went like 20th century and I was doing like Neil Gaiman's Norse mythology. I tried American Gods, but unfortunately, as I edited, I had to edit out American Gods. I was so bummed. But other, I'm trying to remember now off the top of my head. T.H. White's Once a Future King, so it was like a combination, but I demonstrated archetypes based on Dante Alighieri's Inferno, because and this was in Rohan and Dunland, so I just looked at Rohan and Dunland, and if you think about it, I was like, the stories that we run into, in each town and each province and whatever, betrayal and traitors kind of are the kind of like recurring theme sort of thing.
Right.
But which of course would be true because you've got Saruman doing his thing and you've got Wormtongue doing his thing and all that. And that's what would happen to a country when the king has been enfeebled and all that kind of thing. And it was interesting when I went and looked at the Ninth Circle of Hell in Inferno. There was a Rohan story for every one of those, archetypes. So yeah,
mm-hmm.
It was really cool.
And you would have, and maybe even some of them were. Did you also check on Fornelli's Inferno?
I did. In fact, I used both of them because, they had Inferno and then they had Return to Inferno or something like that, Return to Hell. So they had two books, and I actually did use those because I wanted to actually show sort of examples from the Ninth Circle that were more modern, that were closer to our history. So I used them. And in fact, oh my God, Pineleaf, I mean, you would not believe, there was so much other stuff I could do because in the Pornell Inferno, there's some awesome eucatastrophic examples, and I was like, I want to talk about the eucatastrophe, but I can't because it'll be too, it's like, it's off target, it's off topic. And then when I was doing American Gods, I got to thinking about dastardly duos, because in American Gods, there's a dastardly duo that kind of are doing all these, subtle machinations through the whole story, and it's kind of like almost like a Saruman figure and a Wormtongue figure, and then you have Saruman and Wormtongue, and if you kind of go back, there's a little bit of that between the Morgoth Sauron relationship, in the first and second ages. And I was thinking, gosh, I bet there's more if I actually go out into stories. So obviously I have research to do on a completely different topic for another time, like Mythmoot next year, watch out. Right. So anyway, the whole thing was really fun. And one of the cool things was that Mike Drought, who listeners may know is like a very solid, like world-class Tolkien scholar, and is also a consultant to Standing Stones Games and had a lot of input into the creation of Rohan, was my second reader. So he actually read the draft thesis and gave me comments, and he gave me some really good critique and was also like very complimentary. So that kind of was cool. So anyway,
that's awesome.
Yeah. In fact, I have it up on my site. I can put in the show notes the link to the thesis if you guys want, if anybody's interested in going in there and looking. Okay, cool. So enough about me.
All right. Now, I will have to say, Thank you, because I did not know about Escape from Hell.
Yes, I didn't either until I started to do this research.
Okay.
So it's kind of, yeah, and it's really interesting because the protagonist goes back in. And so it's really interesting because in an interview with Pornell, he talked about the fact that they decided on a hell that was structurally Dante's, but philosophically Lewis's. Isn't that interesting? So it's because I guess Lewis is, he had the stand of even in hell you can redeem yourself. There's redemption available to you. Where of course Dante was like, no, once you're there, you are there.
Well, yes,
so it was just really interesting.
Yes, because of how, on how Inferno, on the way Inferno ends, if I remember. So I could just imagine, Escape from Hell. I'll have to read it to see what.
Yeah. Oh, you got to read it. I'll look forward to hearing what you have to say about it. Yeah, it was interesting because I didn't know it existed, and I went back and read it for my research, and it was like, whoa, well, that's interesting. Yeah. So yeah, you definitely should read it, and anybody else should read it too.
Well, if you haven't read Inferno yet, then read that. Of course, it could go way back because in order to really understand Niven and Pornelli's Inferno, you might help if you had read, or at least memory of Dante's,
or at least have your Spark Notes or whatever handy, so you can. Yeah, it's true. I mean, Dante's is really interesting because it's kind of allegorical. It's like he's like writing it for his patron, right? So of course all of his patron's enemies are in hell. It's like, that's a little obvious, Dante, but okay.
Yes, or his joy of putting the popes that insulted him
into hell. The other thing that was kind of cool was the copy of Dante's Inferno that I got a hold of to use for like kind of critique, critical thinking, was Dorothy Sayers' copy. I don't know if all of you know who Dorothy Sayers was, but she was a pretty famous,
who she is,
murder mystery writer, and she also wrote. She was the one that wrote. Oh gosh, Prisoner of Time, Oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it now. We're about the Richard III. But anyway, so yeah, it was really interesting and she was a contemporary of Tolkien too, right? Tolkien and Lewis, and
actually, wasn't she I got the impression during Mythmoot that she was pretty close to being an Inkling.
Well, I was going to say that, but I couldn't remember if that was for sure or not.
Yeah, that's the impression I got at Mythmoot, is that I think maybe geography, that she wasn't around too often or something like that, was the only reason why she wasn't officially one.
Right. Yeah, maybe, because I do remember that. As I was saying her name, I was remembering that I'd heard that, but I didn't want to say for sure because I was like, did I get that right? Was it actually Dorothy Sayers? So you saying it's like, yeah, okay, it was. She was the one I was thinking of. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, so and it was really interesting to read like her, because it's an old Penguin classic book I got used, I mean, it's like yellowed pages and whatnot, but it was really interesting to read her sort of explanation Volga by Volga as I went through, the circle, the 8th and 9th circles. So I was able to like cite her quite a bit in the thesis. It was really a fun thing, but my main thesis of my thesis, the main point of my thesis was to demonstrate to non-game players the fact that games can be literary, and that LOTRO specifically is literary in its nature, and in the nature of the storytelling, and the way that the player / reader engages is a literary experience. So I guess I passed muster. And I got it. I got it honors on my thesis, which was kind of thumbs up. It was like cool. I mean, it's really fun when you write about something that you really love and are interested in, and then to get it acknowledged like that is cool. So yeah, so it's pretty fun. Yeah. Now I got to figure out it. Well, so now, like I said, I've got my next topic, right? Dastardly duos.
Yes.
I don't know where to put. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to put this right there, Pine Leaf, and we'll figure it out. That's my thesis.
All right.
In the show notes.
There you go.
All right. Anyway, onward and upward.
Yeah, it'll probably go into. Actually, no. Maybe Site News or something like that. Yeah, I was about to say Outside Lotro, but it isn't Outside Lotro. It's
No,
right
it's
in
not
Lotro.
outside Lotro. Why
Yeah,
don't I
it's
put it in
definitely.
Site News?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's definitely not weekly. Yeah, the Lotro Players News. I think it's the best section for that since that's relevant there.
Oh, okay, cool.
And now let's head into game news. And the first item here is that we had the release of update 24.2.1, which are the depths of Kizuhala, which is a new 6-player instance.
Actually, it's 1 to 6.
Well, actually, it's 1, 2, or 6.
1, 2, or 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
No 3.
Yeah, it's a bummer that there's no 3. I wish there was. And the solo duo is, I assume it's the same instance, because when I soloed it, it said you've completed solo duo version of.
Yeah, and it does help, I think, if you do have 2 people, because I know that I was getting ripped apart in there.
It was, I think, I had a strange. First of all, it was great to get back together with Glorfindel.
Right.
Those of you that don't know may know that I have a Glorfindel, and I hadn't seen him since what, like Trollshaws with some Barrows dude, right? Was when the last time I saw him, or maybe no, Griff.
If you did the Elf Allegiance.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I forgot. Yeah, I know I did all the Allegiance. So yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot. Anyway, it was good to see him again. So Elrond and Glorfindel kept me company, and I did okay.
Oh, they didn't ditch you?
Well, Elrond actually ditched me, and I kept whistling him up, and he never joined me. But Glorfindel stuck with me the whole entire way, which I very much appreciated.
Glorfindel ditched me also, which left me
Did he really?
alone against
That's pretty annoying. Yeah. Well,
soloing that thing was.
Elrond kept ending up in the water.
So he takes after his sons, or his sons take after him?
Yeah, I think so. He kind of charged in, and I didn't remember. It didn't occur to me to look at their health bars. And I think what must have happened, I think it was Elrond actually that must have bought the farm, because at one point I was fighting, and I was okay. My health was okay, and then I got stunned, and all of a sudden I was back at the beginning again with the 2 guys, as if I had died. So I think maybe it must have been Elrond maybe who bought the farm. I wasn't paying attention to his health bar. Well, there wasn't anything I could have done for him anyway, even if I was paying attention, because as a hunter, I can't do healing. But that was the only reason I couldn't figure it out. But anyway, we went back in, and then I finished it. But at one point, just before the last fight, is that where they ditched you? Just before the last fight? Because that's where Elrond ditched me. Was right before the last fight. He just stood there and wouldn't come off the rock.
I got ditched while trying to climb up to the location where the last fight is.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And then at the end, she says, go back and talk to Elrond. I'm like, go talk to Elrond. And I'm like, well, he's not here. So I had to backtrack up in the instance to go talk to Elrond. Anyway, that silly guy. He just doesn't know what to do once he's outside his library, He's just, anyway, but there was a little bit of, didn't you kind of remember, didn't it kind of remind you a little bit of Vile Maw? A little bit.
Well, yeah, I think I was trying to call him what was I calling him? I think I was calling him the Watcher's brother or something like that.
Or even Helchgam. There's kind of maybe they're all cousins or something.
Yeah. And I can't remember what the monster that you fought in the Ironfold was like. Was he also tentacled like that?
Which one?
The one that's in the iron. The one that you fight. Oh, that wasn't in the Ironfold. It was in the Iron Hills, where
the Howling Pit. Because I haven't done the Howling Pit.
the Howling Pit.
Okay, yeah, I haven't done the pit. So there's another creature in there too, like that,
and it's just as nasty.
Well, I figure the 6-man is probably pretty challenging because you've got a lot of poison stuff getting spit at you.
Even the solo has a lot of poison.
Exactly. Yeah, it does. It does.
Poison.
I know.
Constantly.
I was constantly moving out of it, constantly having to, pot myself, and even I would pot myself and then get hit again.
Yeah.
So anyway, Sans and I are going to be doing this instance. Sans hasn't done it yet, so we're spoiling it. Spoilers.
It's okay.
Get ready. Fire oil.
And maybe more mitigations. Yeah.
Oh,
Lots of mitigations.
Oh, it doesn't like fire?
Well, I always just use fire. I am in the habit of always clicking my fire oil, so I don't know. I mean, I figure all those other guys we fought, the ads, they went down pretty quick, so maybe the fire oil.
Yeah, maybe that. Yeah, because I guess I was figuring ancient evil, so therefore I leave it at Valerian.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, and actually for oil, for all I know, light oil might have worked. I don't know, but it seemed to work pretty good on the ads. We can test it. Yeah, good idea. But yeah, it was an interesting interesting run. The whole area there kind of reminds me a little bit of LOTRO's greatest hits. I'll talk about that a little later. But it's a fun instance. It's a fun instance. I think it probably would be fun in a 6-man instance, right? Classes.
So that's what we had on there, and they also added some elf token Veils barter options finally, because in the previous update 24.2 they finally added the ability to run an instance for the elves, but you're collecting these tokens that you couldn't use, so they finally gave her the stuff that you could actually barter for that. And they also have some new cosmetics that can be found with Rowan Raspberry.
She's the one in Scarhold, right?
I don't know. I didn't actually find her yet.
I think she's the one that's kind of lounging on a stone plinth right behind like the supplier there by the stairs in Scarhold. Because I looked over, and because the reason I remember is, first of all, it's like, well, are we lounging? I mean, are you comfortable over there? You're kind of laying around. And then I noticed her name, because her name is like Rowan Raspberry. That's interesting. So it might be. I don't know.
You can find Rowan Raspberry in Bree by the Boar Fountain.
Oh.
In Galtrev in Dunland. In Scarhold in Arid Mithrin.
Okay.
And in Hultface in the Vales of Anduin.
Yeah, she gets around. Yeah, okay.
She does get around.
Yeah, that's why I thought she was in Bree and you thought she was in Scarhold, because
that explains it. That explains it.
And the picture of her by the Boar Fountain does look like she's just kind of resting there. So totally
she's
possible.
She's not a real high achievement oriented type person, I guess.
Yeah. Well, if you got a name like Rowan Raspberry, which is very definitely a Breeland name, which is another reason why I was thinking, yes, Rowan, I wonder where she's from. Yes.
Yeah, really, no kidding. So she's like a traveling person that goes all over Middle Earth, but she's from Bree. We should do a backstory for her.
That'd be fun.
And also, fixed and bugged overzealous dwarves. I'm trying to think, what on earth is
They
that?
fixed and broke them, or they fixed the bugs?
Yeah, that's why it says fixed and bugged. Does that mean they fixed and bothered them, or it's fixed and added more bugs, or what? Perhaps a typo.
Perhaps.
And hedgehogs have been downsized.
No.
Downsized?
Well, that's just rude.
I mean, those bees are giant. The hedgehogs weren't very big.
Those bees are the size of a hobbit.
Well, yes, I
think
know.
Those bees might be bigger than my hobbit.
Well, because if you look in the podcast section, there are a couple of screenshots of me with the bees.
Oh, yeah. Glorgirl got her gold bee, and big bee. I was out with a hobbit the other day, and geez, that hobbit is like the size of the hobbit that I'm standing next to.
Yeah, definitely a big bee. And we were laughing last week's show when I determined what the name of the big bee is.
Yeah, I named mine BB.
Well, I just let the default name of Big B. So
yeah. Yeah, when I got it, it was like named Bigby. I was like, oh, that's just cute.
Then let's head into our beacon for this week, which is a beacon issue number 124, where at the top we have, I'm trying to figure out exactly. Oh, is that from the 6-player version, perhaps? Because this looks very, very much like this slime pit where you may be seeing all where we were for that instance. Let's see, yeah, because you've got all that nameless in there. You got railroad tracks. You got this acid pool. All that nasty stuff in there. So I'm assuming that that's from the 6-player version.
Oh, it's
In our
got to be. Yeah,
yeah,
it's got to
in our
be.
yeah. In our community spotlights, congratulations to Deco Demu for their 3rd anniversary, and you could click on the link to see what they have done over the past year. A lot of decoration, most likely. And come to the Ivy Bush on Laurelin on September 2nd at 2:30 p.m. server time to take part in the annual Bard's Day. And on August 24th, the Art Band will celebrate its 3rd anniversary on Laurelin from noon to 6:30 p.m. server time. Noon to 6:30 p.m. server time. That's going to be a pretty late party for the people who
Yeah,
are
no
on.
kidding.
Yes. And to celebrate the month of the chicken, the Lonely Mountain Band will be hosting a chicken race on Sunday, August 25th on Landreville. The month of the a chicken race. Now, is that racing chickens, or are you in the form of chickens and participating in the phase?
I'm assuming they'd be in the form of chickens participating in the race.
The first maybe annual chicken race, Shire Racetrack, Sunday, August 25th at 7 p.m. server time. So, yes, if it's at the Shire Racetrack, that probably means that, yes, it's players in the form of chickens. Since I don't think there's any other way you're going to get chickens over into that area.
Right.
And it's nice and convenient from Sanson's farm to get chickens there. Then that concludes the community spotlight. So let's head into our Kin Hall, where Lake Evendem Swim Team is an 8-year-old kinship, initially from the Rittermark server, who joined Langeville during the Great 2015 server merge. We are looking to rebuild our kin on Langeville, and we welcome anyone who is interested in raids, instances, skirmishes, and DDing at any level, role-playing, socializing, or just having fun in Middle-earth. If you would like to practice your swimming on Lake Avendem, we can help with that too. Please mail or send a whisper to our friendly leaders, Raquin or Calabrias, if you would like to ask any questions or join our kin. See you in game. The Lake Evendem Swim Team.
An appropriate name for the Lake Evendem area.
Yes, for sure. So let's head into our weekly comment. As the Farmer's Fair approaches, how are you preparing?
Are you asking us?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't know that tradition.
Gosh, I wasn't even aware. I mean, of course it's coming. I hadn't even thought of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't thrown away all the ales that my characters are carrying around who still need starlit crystals. So I suppose not throwing those away is a form of preparation.
I like that. I'm going to use because I have characters.
You have characters.
It's really annoying that have all those ales still in their bags.
Ah,
You know, it's like, my bag is full. Why? Oh, I have all these ales still.
yeah.
Yeah.
Dang
Might
it.
as well deliver a few of those, yes.
Yeah.
And finally reduce the clutter inside of your bags.
Right.
I mean, I think I only have to make the deliveries 50 times per character who has them in our bags right now. Oops.
Yeah, you get a nice, plentiful supply of them so that you would have enough in order to get all your badges of haste and to get kindred and all that fun stuff.
Oh yeah, that part was easy. The harder part is getting starlit crystals for my stupid allies.
Well, yes, that is. There is that. Of course, the only character I have who has all that stuff is on the Honor server.
That makes good sense.
Yeah. Now, Mary Rose Morningstar made a comment back when we were talking about the bees. She said, I could just see a giant bee chasing a hedgehog.
We also have another confirmed sighting of Rowan Raspberry in the 21st Hall from
Oh my
Gorindus.
goodness.
So,
That
additional
gets
place
around.
that the Wikipedia did not know about.
Aha, next to the cosmetic mannequins. Yes, she gets around quite a bit.
Well,
like-
you know, it's a business, so you know, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do, right. As for what I want to do to prepare for the Farmer's Fair, I really haven't thought about it all that much. I really can't think of anything I will. I guess I'll probably have to do something for it, at least with my Honor character, just to be completionist. Oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna
not
have to
my
do that
favorite
too.
festival.
Really, I have a soft spot for it because it was the very first festival that happened when I started to play the game. So it's a, you know, it's a.
Ah, okay.
I have a
Yeah,
soft spot in my heart for it.
yes, for me, of course, it was the last one they added, so that's.
Ah, yeah.
Let's head into our fan site news. Mythgard and Middle Earth continues with Dr. Corey Olson, where, yes, Mythgard and Middle Earth, where, yeah, Corey Olson does.
Yeah,
score.
this next time, yes, this next time actually, I think he's actually going to score his warp.
Yay!
He's been working up to it. Yeah, he was off on vacation this week, but the last time he did all of the Langhold stuff through the instance, and so I think his next step when he starts this coming Friday will be get his war pony. So Grifflet's going to be war steeded.
Yeah. Not even Corey Olson can fail to get his war steed.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
We maybe shouldn't tempt him.
Right. Let's see. Last week on LOTRO Players News, Sans was looking for some cheese apparently. And you could join Druid's Fire for Gondor has no druids. And you have Adventures After Dark with Big Ed Mustafa as he questions Rohan. You could watch Red Baron on the Evernight server on another Saturday journey of wandering. And you can watch Balvio quest on her Lore Master. And Adventures with Elda continues on Gladden with Dwarves of Erebor and Ironfold. And French Girl Gaming continues adventures with a French twist. And as for our screenshot of the week, it is posted by Larendale, who sent this week's screenshot of the week. And for someone called Larendale, it appropriately has a bit of a mariner in the photo. And this appears to me to be taken at Lake Town because it seems to be on a long lake and I see a dragon banner there.
Looks like Lake Town to me.
then that's it for our beacon for this week. So who would like to discuss the store sales?
I'll do it.
All right.
Alright, so this week, the weekly coupon gets you a free enhanced XP supply with the coupon code SUPPLYXP. Now through August 22nd. Yeah. I always like extra XP for my characters who I always want to level up faster than I probably should.
That way you're too high of a level by the time you're halfway through the questing and you say, oh, let's move on.
Well, that does happen to be the downside of that, but some of them make it to the end. Store sales this week. Store, carry, and share. You can get 25% off vault storage and shared storage, which is awesome until you run out of ways to buy, like, spaces to buy more vault storage. It won't let me buy any more. Inventory slots. I also can't buy any more of those, unfortunately. Currency cap. And that also lasts until the 22nd. So, if you need those and are still eligible to purchase them, this would be a good week to do so.
Then let's head into our site news, but the only thing on the news for this week is a master's thesis that we already discussed.
That we already talked about, so let's move on.
Let's try a new player question. And Maven, what is the question this week?
You had to ask me that. Let me move over to the right place here and find my spot in the thing. So the new player question, should I make a point of doing all the deeds in a region before moving on? And how does the new virtue system affect this decision?
I don't know if you should or not, but I don't have the patience to do it in the moment. Yeah, I mean, those orange and red quests just they beckon.
They don't beckon me, they beckon you, though.
They do beckon me.
Yeah, I'm probably one of the few people in Honor who, on occasion, turns on a tortoise stone. So that I'm not worrying about out-leveling the quest in the next area while I'm finishing up the deeding here.
See, and I stopped questing in Moria, because I was like, wait, if I quest in Moria, I have to, like, quest in Moria, and I can't just, like, gain 5 levels and get out. So, now I can pick it back up, but...
But, yes, as for should you make a point of doing all the deeds, it probably depends on your temperament, because it's common for people to lose patience in trying to do that. But it does have its advantages, and I must admit that I've probably done that once, maybe twice on a character. For example, my Honor character is pretty much completionist. I think there were a couple of things that I didn't quite finish, and even then that I've since gone back to finish it.
I have a question, Pine.
Yeah.
Since you've done this on Honor, maybe you know. So with the new virtue system, like, if you do all the deeds, but you haven't really leveled, like you used a tortoise stone or whatever, do you, like, just lose the ability to have that deed XP?
Well, I still have deeds that can be, because right now, since I'm at level cap, I've got 32 is my max. So I could go up to 32 levels in those, and while all my equipped virtues are at max, there are still some unslotted ones that aren't max yet, so the virtue XP goes into those.
Okay, but then, like, as you go, you have to keep doing all the deeds if you want to keep your slotted virtues up.
When they raise the level cap again, I will have to do the deeds in a new area. Now,
I mean, of course you already will, because you're completionisting, but...
Right, but if you're not completionisting, and you only want to concentrate on your 5 quit deeds, then if you see that you're capped on all 5 of those, then you might not want to do too many more of those deeds until you gain a couple more levels.
Right.
And if you're on Honor and you're at the current cap, that means waiting until the cap is raised in a month or two.
Right. Yeah,
So,
that's kind of what I'm thinking is, you basically, I mean, unless, because I know people like Corey Olson who gets like stressed out if he doesn't complete. I mean, he's like a true completionist. It's like one end of the spectrum, and then the other end of the spectrum is somebody gets like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to the next. I think your idea is the best. Is you basically top out your 5 chosen ones. And the thing about it is, for me too, I think as you grow in the game, you may change your virtues around too. So I personally like keeping some of the deeds open so I can go back, to gray areas and just like quickly
get those things back up.
Yeah, back up again, for the new virtues. Yeah, yeah. So my thing would be, I mean, I'd say do the deeds that make sense to you to do, like the Slayer deeds and things like that. And I don't know, like,
yes,
don't worry too much about getting them all done, and then you always can go back. Like right now, I'm doing that. I did that on Glordwell. I'm doing it back in Legends, and topping off my virtues by completing, the deeds.
or maybe you cut out there.
Oh, I
Topping
stopped.
out
Yeah,
on
so
virtues
okay. Yeah, I saw the talk thing go on and off, on and off, on and off.
Oh, that's probably my fan. Sorry.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute myself. I'm gonna try and mute myself. My fan doesn't keep turning on my microphone.
Yes. Now, as for the question on whether or not the new virtue system affects the decision, in the past, in the old virtue system, you see probably a good percentage of players concentrate on the deeds that were associated with the ones they plan on slotting. Now, you probably had the ones you actually have
Right.
slotted,
Right.
and the ones that you plan to slot it once they get to a reasonable level, or usually the ones you got in there.
Right,
Now,
because you'd get some on accident just by going to the quest places.
right. Then
That's true.
If you do the new system, then any virtue, any deed could potentially be helping your virtues that you are working on. So there are advantages from that point of view.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
But of course, that means that once you have yours topped off, then it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, that you may decide just to hold off on them. But some people may want to cap more of them off because of the other change in the new virtue system, and that is that virtues now have passives that are in force even when not slotted.
Right, that's true. And the other thing I that just wants to cap all the
I missed half of that.
The other thing you thought of was...
Oh, I thought of was that there's also cap all the virtues.
Yeah,
not just the ones they have.
You keep them dropping mid-sentence.
Are you saying there's people who want to cap all their virtues?
Yeah, completionists. It's like there's completionists that just want to cap all virtues. In which case, just do all the deeds.
Do all the deeds. If you want to do that, you will have to do all the deeds.
Yes.
So that, I think, answers our new player question. Then let's into our week in LOTRO. And Sans Window, what were you up to?
Well, this week, I retook Weathertop with the girls of Middle-earth, and that was pretty fun. I think there were 4 of us. Were there? Yeah, there were 4 of us. And we totally just rampaged through the instance, recklessly.
And we weren't super over level.
No. We were within a few levels of it. I think it was still blue to me. might have been light blue, but it was still blue. And yeah, then I ran some Moria instances for deeds with Gorindus and Maven later this week, and that was a lot of fun. Kind of just recklessly going into 6-man instances with 3 people and tearing them apart, thanks to being way over level.
Yeah, speaking of completing deeds, right?
Right. Hey, my virtues got changed by the new changes. I need more deeds. And on the field trip, I helped epically defend the glittering caves. And it didn't all go as epically as I had hoped, because the ability to pick up a barricade in a box will only get you so far. So, after that, I went gear shopping and have actual level 95 allies and actual level 95 gear, since my character is level 95, and had been running around in gear anywhere 15-ish levels below to 10 levels below, which might help explain some of the lack of DPS. So,
and of course, when we were talking about that yesterday, I had completely forgotten, of course, is that level 85 to level 86 is the biggest jump in stats in the entire game that I can think of.
Yeah, it's a huge jump, and we were still using 80 to 85 gear.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's no wonder we weren't hardly doing any damage. So, yeah, definitely went gear shopping and then tested the gear in Tuckborough, and got a pie named after me, so that was pretty cool. And yeah, and then with Terry and Pineleaf, I waged a political campaign in Goblin Town. Most of the goblins weren't very happy to see us, but they also weren't, like, super on guard against us. Like, we got pretty close before they were like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be here, and then they were gone. And fought some wood demons that were tormenting a little outpost, so that was pretty cool. What were you up to this week, Maven?
Actually, it made me think of something that I didn't write down. So one of my Anor characters is surprising, but she's a hobbit, and so her name now is Maven, and her name is Pie, and she's got the Pie Maven title, so she's Maven Pie Maven.
That's awesome. Maven Pie Maven.
Maven Pie Maven. I almost was going to call her just Maven, not give her a surname and she'd be Maven Pie Maven, but I thought Maven Pie Maven.
That's
so anyway, so back to my list. So my gaming time has gotten a little bit limited now because I'm actually gainfully employed away from the house, and that's caused many schedule changes and going to bed very early at night to get up extremely early in the morning. So my game time has gotten a lot limited. So I've been doing mostly stuff on Glordrail, especially with the new area, the Vales, and the newer area expansion of the new area, not expansion, but the newest area that we just got. So I pretty much everything that I've accomplished lately has been with her. So she's helped Radagast sufficiently to get her Rosgobel character frame, and also has the title character Rosgobel, and she's 5 treats away from mastering Taming Beasts.
Nice.
The only reason she'd be done with that, except it's just, you got to do a lot of traveling around Middle Earth to get that one done. So I just haven't quite been in the mood to do that, but she's almost there. And she's also completed all of her Anduin D, so she has the B to show for it, as we discussed earlier. I've also done Lotro's Greatest Hits, which is what I've named the newest area. Because you go there and it's like, oh, this reminds me of Midgewater Marshes. Oh, this reminds me of Forakel. Oh, this reminds me of Fornos. It's just like, it's kind of like, it's a little like a trip down memory lane. And then there's one section that's like the Trollshaw's Giants Valley from when you're on level, so it was fun. It's fun, but it just was kind of funny because it was like, oh my gosh, this just reminds me of other spots. But it was great. It was fun to go through there. I've gone through there a couple times now with friends, and I discovered the instance location, of course, as we mentioned earlier, and I did the instance solo. So anyway, yeah, but I've been it's been fun, and I think one of my favorite parts, this is kind of weird to say, but when I was running around doing the treasure cache deed to finish up all my deeds, I was doing the one down in the Duskin Vales, and I was running around, and I realized, and I mean, this is silly, but it was kind of like, oh yeah, there's Lorien. I mean, you literally like ride from the veils right into Lorien. But the best part, I should have taken a picture of this. I should go back and take a shot. Is you can stand in the Duskin Vales. You stay in the Duskin Vales, but you stand on like this rock, this ledge, and can look down into Lorien. I don't know why, but for some reason that was just really cool. I think because it's kind of a new experience for me to have old parts of the game hooking up to new parts of the game. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like they're filling in Middle Earth, and it was really cool. So anyway, that's what I've been doing. Pine Leaf, how about you?
I'll begin with my honor warden, who heard a story about some spirits and a stone.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah. Which, of course, meant that a little bit of a session play involving Isildur. And then on my burglar, I recovered a sword that was swallowed by a dragon.
Did you get to meet the dragon?
Oh, I had to kill the dragon to get the sword. Yeah. I'm sure the dragon wasn't in very good shape after swallowing the sword. It maybe gave it indigestion or something.
Probably. I hear that does not usually go well if you swallow a sword.
Yeah. Well, it was a wooden sword, so there was that.
Well, that does help a little bit.
Yes, because you had the digestive juices might start to do some work on it, even if most digestive juices probably don't do all that well against wood in the first place. But I'm sure a dragon has some pretty caustic juices in its belly. Then on Friday Night Fight, we ran several skirmishes, including the Siege of Gondoman, where we attempted to recruit Ingithor Blackhand into our kin. And you may be wondering, why would we want to have Ingithor Blackhand into our kin? And what happened is we were running, okay, as I said, Gondoman, and when we finished it, we came to the point where we're trying to decide: do we attack the Drake, or do we attack the Dowerhead? And we noticed that Mathi was standing at a location that there was no way in the world that the Drake was going to miss him, because he was a little bit more forward than usual. And sure enough, he instantly got the attention of the Drake, and so happened everybody was in a position where Ingethi Blackhand didn't notice any of us. So he was just standing away, waiting, okay, let's go around here. Well, I guess he says, all right, Drake, I sent you in to fight this. You fight it by yourself. So we all then killed them. Then, of course, Blackhand after that. And there's a running joke in the Mythgard kin. And that is that we're not able to see dragons. And that's something to do with Friday Night Fights, where it all started, I believe, during a run of Assault on Ringwraith's Lair, where we thought everything was clear, but there was this Drake that was climbing up the stairs, and we all missed it before it came and pounced on us.
Oops.
And it wasn't the last time that we completely failed to see a Drake. So you had this big, huge, we're not talking about one of those baby, tiny Drakes. We're talking about the big Drakes.
That's
right. So it became a running joke that we can never see dragons. We have a complete inability of seeing dragons whenever they're around. So therefore, we thought that Ingithor Blackhand qualified for the Mythgard kin because he was unable to see the dragon fight that we were doing.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
I'm not too sure what our kin leader would have thought about that.
You should ask her. Hey, my feeling about it is, come on.
Okay. I could just imagine the Blackhand sitting in the corner of the Breland.
Yeah.
Freeland area,
Or
listening to Corey Olson.
or in our kin house, he just
Yeah.
sits there and waits for people to come in. So, what are you doing here?
That concludes what we did this week. So let's head into our news beyond Lotro, where we have Naren Loremaster has provided us another poem, and this one is called Strider. The ranger lounged. The inn at Bree had seen few strangers folk than he. In dark corner of the inn he surveyed all the comers in, and watched them with distant eye, as into separate groups they ply, fresh ale and with friends. No friends had he, the ranger visiting at. The ranger rests. He's traveled far by day, by night, by wandering stars, through tundra in the frozen north. He'd been where cold winds sweeping forth freeze bones to ice. In lands far south, south past the Anduin's river mouth, he'd been deep into far Harad, and many adventures there he had. Through myriad dangers this man came, yet none in Bree ever knew his name. The rangers alert last then saw 4 hobbits entered by the door, and debouched to the common room. He watched them carefully through the gloom. These were the ones. He shakes his head. Without his help, they'd soon be dead. Did not these fools black riders see hot on their tracks? And that in Bree would no protection from such find? The ranger searched his cunning mind to think what stratagem were best to save his 4 unwitting guests. The hobbits laughed, told tales and sang with gusto. On the tables clang the cutterly. The folk of Bree join in the mirth delightedly at Pepin's antics. That young fool! Then Frodo clambered up a stool to take his turn, and sang and leapt until, misjudging, down he slipped and disappeared. Bill Ferny stood. Upon his features drew his hood to hide his spiteful, ugly face, making quick shift to leave the place. The patrons gasp as round they stare. Frodo the Hobbit is not there. Across the room he reappears. He's a magician. Patrons' fears rises, murmurs loud. The ranger sighs. Why did he that? All patrons' eyes grew wary, hard. The ranger paid. 'Tis time to lend hobbits his aid. The rangers close to Frodo hied, and spoke to him his short aside. You've done enough, dear Underhill. Your friends should leave this room until tomorrow. And and to you some words I wish to speak to you afterwards. A dismayed Frodo left. Behind all patrons loudly speak their minds, decrying magic tricks. Not strange, men of Bree will never change. The ranger muses as he stands to carry out Gandalf's commands, to rescue Frodo from all strife, to guide him through dangers of life, and bring him straight to Rivendell, where Elrond and his wood elves dwell. As long as life lasts, while he draws breath, these hobbits ward until the death. Yeah, that that one was tricky to do in a cold reading.
You
Good
did
reading,
good.
though, Pineleaf.
You did good.
Yeah, it's like, oh boy.
I can't snap
Yeah.
very well, or else I would snap for it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I was snapping, but I was on mute. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that. Let's then head into our donations this week, where we currently have 18 supporters on Patreon. And if you'd like to join this illustrious raid of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast your choice, or even be guest with us for an episode of LOTRO Players News. We did not receive any emails this week, but if you like send one, you can send it to podcast@lotraplayers.com. And you can also follow us on Twitter at the Players Alliance at Players Ally, Lojo Players at Lojo Players, Arendis at Arendis, Pineleaf at Pineleaf Neals, Sandwinda at Sandwinda, and Terry Edwin at Terry Edwin. And you can follow our guest Maven at Tolkien Maven. The Players Alliance has 2 live shows. On Mondays at 7 p.m. US Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News, and on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. US Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. You can join us for our live shows at LOTROPlayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight, and this is Piney Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.